And he, you know, there's so many different approaches to doing this, but one of them is very funky, with also some sort of bluesy walk downs, like funky, like electric piano funky
I do
too.
electric
you know?
piano funk on this.
Yes, which I love, and I try and do electric piano funk on a number of tunes. I love that.
For the record, what I
speed.
tend to do
Huh?
right off the bat on it would be...
Yeah.
And it's just doing it.
Ooh, that's cool.
Funk in general is really simplified in left hand compared to rock and roll. I mean, it's either going to be octaves or a lot of just double taps and then picking where you're going to do a riff. In this case.
One thing
Very simple.
I've noticed is you do a hell of a lot more using of just 3 fingers or maybe 4 fingers than I do. And it looks like that's maybe I need to, look at developing in terms of, and it seems to enable you to move around.
It makes me
quite easily.
It's a different philosophy from, say, classical piano. Classical piano, you would never ever in a million years do what I'm doing. But you have to consider that the types of riffs that are played in this kind of music is like,
because especially triplets are amenable to this 3 fingers.
Especially also when it comes down to the improvisation, like your pinky and your ring finger have to be available as outliers, if anything. You could think of like the riffs in your solos and your playing as the bulk being done with 3 to 4 fingers, and you could think of those as the average notes, and pinky is reserved for outliers, for stretching. Because if you're spending too much time using your pinky
I really
in the middle
do,
of a riff, then you like. What if you try to get back up here? You can't. It's much easier. You get a lot farther if you save it for extending up.
Right.
Like if you were to see it doing like for instance so I started soloing in never be able to reach this if I'm spending too much time playing with memory.
I never use my pinky for any of these internal I never, if I'm an E, I'm never really doing that. But almost by default, I'm doing this. This is like a very basic position for me. So, as I'm comping, but I rarely go to any kind of 3 finger. So
3 finger patterns are everything. I mean, one of the best exercises you can do outside of all this. When I was asking you what you want to do, you said you wanted to videotape my hands. One of the best things you can do seriously is pick patterns. Like
I do it exactly that one.
Okay, well there's 3 fingers. Just getting them all under your belt. Every pattern you can think of with as many fingers as you can think of. Even 2 finger patterns. Everything you do between you get everything. Every position on your fingers. So it gets into a point where you're starting to do fast enough. You want to be able to. Especially in blues, because blues and funk, because like I said before, fourths are everything. How do you expect, if you're using your pinky to do riffs, how do you expect to have the fourth being held?
I don't get it.
Okay. Let's say you have a fourth between the G and the F, and a fourth between the C and the C. The C and F, or the G and the C here, and the C and F here.
Yeah.
If you have your pinky up there. What's more interesting, this or this? Having the actual fourth held down makes a big difference. You might not have any utility for the pinky other than holding it down while you're doing stuff with the other riffs. makes a bigger difference with it working because it'll be sustained the whole
Right,
time.
right,
It won't decay,
yeah.
but it's almost like having a. If you're using your pinky, you can't be using it. It's good to just use it to hold out notes, or just have it available to stretch.
Right, especially in the
Now, if you're doing
You know,
arpeggio,
doing-
you say you're doing a lot of arpeggios, you're not going to be able. You're going to have to use it for arpeggios.
What do you think would be useful? So, like half an hour left. Do you think it would be useful for you to see me play some stuff and make any comments, or
Whatever you want to do.
All right. Let's still fool around with you playing some particular songs, maybe going in some different styles.
Okay.
How about Harder They Come?